How many of you know exactly what you want in life, but your own mind keeps talking you out of it? How many times have you had the dream in your heart, the vision in your head, the fire in your soul, but your mind whispered, you can't, and you believed it? Tonight, I'm here to tell you, your biggest enemy isn't out there. And if you don't learn to control your mind, it will control you. Your mind is the most powerful weapon you own. Most people walk around every single day acting like it's just another part of their body, like it doesn't hold the keys to everything they want. Think about it. Your legs can move you forward, can build, their voice can influence, but none of that matters if your mind doesn't first decide to act. The problem is too many of us let our minds run on autopilot. We let every thought, every fear, every insecurity run wild. And then we wonder why we don't get the results we dream about. Your mind is either going to become your best ally or your worst enemy. Crazy part is you get to decide which role it plays. If you don't master your mind will master you. It will control your habits, your decisions, your energy, and your future. Will convince you to quit before you've even started. It will convince you to stay average when greatness is calling your name. Convince you to lower your standards so you can feel comfortable, even though comfort is killing your potential. And if you don't step up and take charge, your whole life being a prisoner inside your own head. That's the reality most people live in. They're not trapped by circumstance, by thought patterns they've never challenged. Think about every excuse you've ever made. Think about the times you didn't take action, not because you couldn't, because you told yourself a story about why it wouldn't work. That's your mind controlling you. That's your mind using its power against you instead of for you. But here's the truth. Is powerful enough to hold you back, then it's powerful enough to launch you forward. The same energy that feeds your fear can feed your faith. The same focus that fuels your doubts can fuel your discipline. It's not about your situation changing first. It's about your mindset changing first, because once your mindset shifts, everything else starts to align. The reason some people rise while others stay stuck isn't luck. It isn't connections. It isn't even talent. It's mental mastery. It's the ability to take control of what goes on in the space between their ears. When challenges hit, they don't crumble because they've trained their minds to look for solutions instead of problems. They don't quit because they've taught their minds to see failure as feedback, not a dead end. And when opportunities come, they don't hesitate. Their minds are already conditioned to believe they're worthy, they're ready, they're capable. Your mind is your steering wheel. It's the GPS for your life. If you let it wander aimlessly, you'll drift off course. But if you take control, you can drive anywhere you want to go. Question isn't whether your mind is powerful. The question is whether you'll take responsibility for that power, whether you'll step into the driver's seat and refuse to let fear, excuses, I'll take the wheel ever again. Your mind works against you every single day. And if you're not aware of it, you'll keep falling into the same trap over and over again. You open your eyes in the morning. Your mind starts whispering reasons to stay in bed just a little longer. It tells you that you're tired, that you need rest, that today isn't the day. Remind you of yesterday's failures, replay them like a broken record, and then convince you that because you failed before, you'll fail again. We'll always choose the path of least resistance because it's wired to keep you safe, not to make you successful. Safety feels good in the moment. Safety is the very thing that robs people of their dreams. Think about how many times you've delayed action because of the conversation happening in your own head. You didn't apply for the opportunity because your mind said you weren't qualified. You didn't start the project because your mind said it wasn't the right time. Keep pushing when it got tough because your mind told you it was too hard. And here's the dangerous part. Your mind is so convincing that you start to believe those lies as truth. You think you're being rational when in reality you're just being controlled. Procrastination isn't about laziness. It's about the war going on in your head. People lose that war because they don't even realize they're in it. Your mind doesn't just push procrastination. It pushes fear. It tells you if it doesn't work, it paints pictures of embarrassment, rejection, and failure so vividly that you talk yourself out of even trying. Magnifies every possible risk while minimizing every possible reward. That's why so many people live small lives. They allow fear to have the loudest voice in the room. Nothing more than your mind exaggerating the worst case scenario. But if you never challenge it, fear becomes your reality. Then there are the excuses. Your mind is a professional excuse maker. 100 reasons why today isn't the right day, why the conditions aren't perfect, why you should wait until you have more money, more energy, more support. Time you accept one of those excuses, you give your mind more control. You reinforce the belief that it's okay to delay, it's okay to avoid, it's okay to settle. Excuses feel comfortable in the moment, but they're dangerous because they build patterns, and those patterns become your life. 10, that your mind will not automatically push you toward greatness. Left unchecked, it will always push you toward comfort, and comfort is the enemy of growth. Every single day, fight that voice that tells you to wait, that tells you to quit, that tells you it's impossible. If you don't recognize that your mind is working against you, like it's the truth, when in reality, it's just fear, excuses, and procrastination dressed up as logic. The battle is real. You face the fact that your own thoughts are your biggest obstacle. You'll never fully step into your potential. Your mind works against you every single day. And if you're not aware of it, falling into the same trap over and over again. The moment you open your eyes in the morning, your mind starts whispering reasons to stay in bed just a little longer. Tells you that you're tired, that you need rest, that today isn't the day. It will remind you of yesterday's failures, replay them like a broken record, convince you that because you failed before, you'll fail again. Your mind will always choose the path of least resistance because it's wired to keep you safe, not to make you successful. Safety feels good in the moment, but safety is the very thing that robs people of their dreams. Think about how many times you've delayed action because of the conversation happening in your own head. You didn't apply for the opportunity because your mind said you weren't qualified. You didn't start the project because your mind said it wasn't the right time. You didn't keep pushing when it got tough because your mind told you it was too hard. And here's the dangerous part. Your mind is so convincing that you start to believe those lies as truth. You think you're being rational when in reality, you're just being controlled. Procrastination isn't about laziness. It's about the war going on in your head. People lose that war because they don't even realize they're in it. Your mind doesn't just push procrastination. It pushes fear. It tells you, what if it doesn't work? It paints pictures of embarrassment, rejection, and failure so vividly that you talk yourself out of even trying. Magnifies every possible risk while minimizing every possible reward. That's why so many people live small lives. They allow fear to have the loudest voice in the room. More than your mind exaggerating the worst case scenario. But if you never challenge it, fear becomes your reality. Then there are the excuses. Your mind is a professional excuse maker. Give you 100 reasons why today isn't the right day, why the conditions aren't perfect, why you should wait until you have more money, more energy, more support. Time you accept one of those excuses, you give your mind more control. You reinforce the belief that it's okay to delay, it's okay to avoid, it's okay to settle. Excuses feel comfortable in the moment, but they're dangerous because they build patterns, and those patterns become your life. You have to understand that your mind will not automatically push you toward greatness. Left unchecked, it will always push you toward comfort, and comfort is the enemy of growth. Every single day, fight that voice that tells you to wait, that tells you to quit, that tells you it's impossible. If you don't recognize that your mind is working against you, paying it like it's the truth, when in reality, it's just fear, excuses, and procrastination dressed up as logic. The battle is real. Till you face the fact that your own thoughts are your biggest obstacle, you'll never fully step into your potential. Success doesn't start with the money in your pocket, the people you know, talent you were born with. Success starts in your mind. Before the world ever recognizes you, before opportunities ever find you, before results ever show up, it all begins with the way you think, you believe, and the way you discipline yourself mentally. Too many people are waiting for external validation, waiting for someone to open a door, waiting for life to hand them the right circumstances, but they're missing the truth that everything changes only when the mind changes first. If you don't believe you can, outside of you will ever convince you otherwise. If you don't decide to commit, no amount of support will keep you from quitting. The foundation of every victory, every achievement is built inside the mind long before it's seen in reality. What separates the person who rises from the one who stays stuck isn't that one had better opportunities or more talent, made the decision to take control of their thoughts, and the other didn't. Belief is the seed of success. If your belief system is weak, if you doubt yourself every time it gets hard, actions will reflect that doubt. You'll hesitate, you'll hold back, you'll play it safe. and the results will match the mindset. But when you build a strong belief system, feed your mind thoughts of discipline, resilience, and possibility, you begin to show up differently. You stop looking for reasons why it won't work and start creating reasons why it must work. 2 is born in the mind. Discipline isn't about waking up at 5 a.m. or grinding for hours. Those are the actions, but the decision to do those things is mental. Won't move until your mind tells it to. That's why people who never train their thoughts can't stay consistent. They keep breaking promises to themselves. Never built the mental muscle required to follow through. When you strengthen your mindset, discipline becomes automatic. You don't negotiate with yourself anymore. Talk yourself out of doing the work because your mind is already locked in on the mission. Success starts with self-talk. You speak to yourself in the dark matter more what anyone else says to you in the light. If you keep telling yourself you're not good enough, if you keep replaying every failure, doubting every step, then you're programming your mind to sabotage you. But if you start speaking life into yourself, if you start affirming your ability, reminding yourself that you're capable, your actions will follow that belief. The mind is a magnet. It attracts what it's focused on. The truth is, external is just a reflection of what's internal. When your mindset is sharp, when your belief is strong, when your discipline is unshakable, success has no choice but to follow because it was already created in your mind long before the world could see it. You have to stop letting the lies in your head control the direction of your life. Tell you you're not enough. Those voices that whisper you'll never make it, those doubts that creep in when you're about to take a step forward, all of them are lies. Has a way of magnifying your fears, exaggerating your weaknesses, and minimizing your strengths until you start believing that you don't have what it takes. And once you believe it, it's true. You play smaller than your potential. You hesitate when opportunities show up. You settle for less than you deserve. The battlefield is not the world outside of you. Is inside your head. And if you don't back against the lies, you'll live a life far beneath what you were created for. Fear is one of the biggest lies your mind tells you. That if you try, you'll fail. Fear tells you that if you step out, you'll be embarrassed. Fear tells you that if you push too hard, you'll break. And because fear sounds so convincing, but here's the truth, fear is almost always false evidence appearing real. Creating scenarios that haven't even happened yet and then tricking you into acting like they're guaranteed. You have to stop letting fear run the show. Every time you let fear win, train brain to accept defeat before the battle even begins. Excuses are another lie that your mind loves to sell you. Excuses sound logical. They sound reasonable. In reality, they're nothing more than barriers you've agreed to live behind. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money, don't have the right connections. These excuses feel safe. They let you off the hook, but they're not the truth. The truth is other people with less time, less money, fewer resources have done more because they refused to accept excuses as truth. We'll keep giving you reasons to quit, but you've got to stop listening and start moving. Comfort is another dangerous lie. Will convince you that staying where you are is better than taking the risk to grow. It will tell you that average is enough, that as long as you're not struggling, you should be satisfied. Comfort is the slow poison that kills potential. The more you give into it, the weaker you become. One day you wake up and realize years have gone by and you never tapped into the greatness inside of you. You can't let comfort convince you that settling is acceptable. To overcome these lies is to replace them with truth. Every time your mind tells you you can't, you respond with evidence of when you already did. Your mind tries to exaggerate failure. You remind yourself of the lessons you learned that made you stronger. Every time your mind tells you to stay safe, yourself, that growth never comes from safety. It comes from courage. Lies only have power if you believe them. So the moment you start challenging them, the moment you start replacing them, back control of your life, reprogramming your thinking is not optional if you want to rise above average and walk into your purpose. The problem is most people are running on default settings every day with the same patterns of thought, the same stories, the same beliefs that have been holding them back for years. And then they expect a new outcome. Is nothing more than a reflection of the thoughts you allow to dominate your mind. If those thoughts are filled with doubt, fear, and limitation, then your life will reflect out fear. If those thoughts are filled with belief, determination, and purpose, then your life will reflect belief, determination, and purpose. The key is deciding that you're not going to accept the default programming anymore. You're going to take responsibility for rewiring your own mind. Every time you hear that voice saying, you can't, you have to train yourself to respond. Watch me. That shift in language matters because words are powerful. The way you talk to yourself determines how you show up. If your self-talk is filled with negativity, it will drain your energy before you even take action. But if your self-talk is filled with determination, it will give you the fuel you need to keep pushing. Programming your mind is about catching the negative thought the moment it appears and flipping it into something that empowers you instead of something that paralyzes you. Ignoring reality, it's about choosing a perspective that keeps you moving forward instead of holding you back. Excuses are another pattern that must be reprogrammed. Has been conditioned to seek the easy way out to protect you from discomfort. And every time you let those excuses slide, you reinforce that weak programming. To break that cycle is to start rejecting excuses the second they show up. When your mind says, it's too hard, you replace it with, that's exactly why I'm going to do it. When your mind says, take a break, you replace it with, reprogramming means refusing to allow excuses to dominate your thoughts and choosing discipline instead. Are built in the mind long before they're seen in your actions. If your thinking is lazy, your actions will follow. If your thinking is disciplined, your actions will follow. Programming isn't a one-time event. It's a daily commitment. You have to remind yourself every morning who you are, what you stand for, and what you're chasing. Consciously choose thoughts that align with your purpose and reject thoughts that lead you away from it. Over time, your brain will start to form new pathways that once felt impossible will become natural. This process is not easy because your old programming will fight back. It will try to pull you into old habits, old fears, old excuses. Time you choose a new thought, you weaken the old pattern and strengthen the new one. Eventually, your mind begins to work for you instead of against you. To see opportunities where you used to see obstacles. You start to find strength where you used to find excuses. You start to act with confidence where you used to hesitate. Thinking and you reprogram your future, control your mind, and you control your life. Everything you experience, everything you achieve. You become is filtered through the lens of your thinking. People often chase external change, more money, better opportunities, believing that if they can fix what's outside, the inside will follow. But the truth is the opposite. Once you gain mastery over your mind, external begins to align with that mastery. The way you interpret challenges shifts. The way you respond to setbacks changes. And the way you show up in the world transforms. Y'all, what happens to you? It's about how you think about what happens to you. And that thinking is the key to whether you grow or whether you stay stuck. When you control your mind, once invisible suddenly appear. Opportunities were always there, but you couldn't see them because your mind was too clouded with fear, doubt, and negativity. Once you clear that fog, to notice solutions instead of only problems. You begin to see possibilities instead of only obstacles. That's the power of mental control. It unlocks vision. People fail not because they lack potential, but because they lack perspective. And perspective is born in the mind. Strength comes from the way you think. Life will throw difficulties at you. Senses will test you. People will doubt you. But if your mind is under control, those things won't break you. You'll feel the weight collapse because your thoughts keep telling you, I can handle this. Your body responds to the commands of your mind. So when your thoughts are filled with resilience and determination, will reflect that. You'll push further, stand taller, and fight harder than someone whose mind has already surrendered. Passion is also fueled by mental control. Passion isn't just emotion. It's the ability to keep the fire burning when challenges come, when your mind is aligned with your purpose. You don't need someone else to motivate you. You don't need constant encouragement. Your thoughts are already pushing you forward. Your mind becomes the engine that keeps your passion alive, even when the circumstances don't look promising. Fire inside you that only ignites when you decide to stop letting your thoughts limit you. Too many people spend their whole lives locked in cages built by their own minds, realizing the key was always in their hands. Control your mind, and suddenly you break free from fear, from excuses, from the lies that told you average was enough. Battlefield is not in the gym, not in the office, not in the classroom. It's in your head. And when you win there, you can win anywhere. Because once your thoughts are disciplined, focused, with your purpose. There is no obstacle big enough to stop you and no dream too far for you to reach. The greatest battle you'll ever fight is not against the world, your own mind. Win that battle, and there is nothing you can't do, nowhere you can't go, nothing you can't become. Take control of your mind, and you take control of your life forever.